Universe, it's Caner Tip Tuesday today. Are you over the age of 50? This is what you want to know regarding cane training. But even if you're not in your 50s yet, you still want to hear this because you're going to get a head start. You're going to really appreciate this. Before we do that, as always, if you love the content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you don't miss any future content. Avail yourself. You have free resources. By far the most important one. Text the letter CCC for Cane Clarity. Call to the number on the screen. In less than 24 hours, we will be in a conversation with you and learning what it is that attracts you to the tool, the training, the culture. Have all your questions answered. If you're just starting off, it's going to save you tons of time, funds, and frustration trying to figure this thing out on your own, because there's a bunch of stuff out there that's great, but you don't need everything, and you certainly don't need everything when you're first starting off. So there's an actual plan in place. And take a look at the description below. There's Facebook groups that are now open to the general public, ACSD groups request entry that will let you write in. There's three main areas, if you're over the age of 50, that your cane training should be fulfilling. And those areas are, number one, do you have any injuries? Do you have aches and pains? Do you have physical and even mental snags that, and I should preface everything by saying that we don't make any medical claims with ACSD or SOBREVIVENCIA or anything like that. I am a licensed healthcare professional here in the state of Florida, and I don't use that. I don't say that here and say, oh, ACSD or cane flow. What you want to do is read the reviews, and we're sharing some of the science behind that and what actually happens with this training, but not to be construed as a medical claim nor substitution for you getting medical care. But if you have injuries, if you have aches and pains, how can this help you navigate that and still be effective and still be able to do the things that you enjoy doing? Number two would be the health component. So one of them is training with the injuries, circumventing or working around injuries. Right? Now, I'll tell you what I hear, what we talk about every day. I'm in conversations, phone conversations with caners, instructors, coaches, and those who are coming brand new, and they're coming from all over the world. And then lastly, the self-protection aspect of it, which may very well be, hey, that's what attracts me to it. But you should know also that if you're having injuries, for instance, if you have musculoskeletal injury, what we hear a lot about is, I'm a former martial artist, I've been doing this we have individuals who have been doing this for 50 years, right? Training in the arts. You say, I'm banged up. I can't do what I used to do. I can't recover from that. And as some are realizing, right, once you get to a certain age, you say, hey, all that competitive stuff, all that, fighting and all that stuff, which is, it's good entertainment, or maybe when you were that age and you did it, hey, I like to test myself like that. That's no longer your priority. That's not what you're looking to do. And if you have musculoskeletal injuries and you're in pain, you know how that can bring you down. And what happens when if we're using a pain scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, when you're in between that 7, 8, 9, and you've been doing that for a while, it starts affecting you mentally as well. It starts affecting your mood, and you're basically dragging. So the first thing that ACSD and the associated curriculums, whether it be cane flow, SOBREVIVENCIA, it's movement based. So hidden in those movements are already, the way those movements are done, they should support musculoskeletal injuries. We always say there shouldn't be any sharp pain, and it shouldn't make anything worse. It should start making things better, but you have to know how to do it based on what your starting point is. That's not anything that anyone who's done leader level 1 or advanced, or they delved in that. No, you're going to need a coach to take a look at that. That can specialize in that, and they can always communicate with the headquarters and say, take a look at this. What do you think? Because we have the experience in doing that. But the movements themselves are designed in such a way that they should be supportive, strengthen, improve that injury by bringing circulation, oxygenation to that area, and without making things worse. That is a characteristic of ACSD cane training. So if you have injuries and you're looking and you're wondering, you say, some of you need that cane to ambulate. Well, this is not going to be a crutch anymore. It's not just going to be that. It's going to go way beyond that to be a tool of empowerment, but you have to learn how to do it. And there's a step-by-step core curriculum for it that leads to this right here, which is cane flow, which is movement-based. The second component of it is the health benefits, and I'll give you just one example. One of the areas that we focus on, whether it be with Sobrevivencia, Maestro Reese has spoken about this many times as the years go by. Cane flow, same thing, is an emphasis on the lower body muscles, on the quadriceps in particular. Why? Because if you're not doing anything, it wastes away its big muscle group. And individuals fall all the time. And a lot of times you'll say, well, he fell and broke his hip. But a lot of times, after a certain age, if those bones, if those structures aren't strong, that hip will break first, and then you have the fall. Either way, none of those are good. So there's an emphasis on the bigger muscle groups in terms of movement, but being done in such a way that they're natural movements that are going to enhance, again, circulation, the lymphatic flow, circulate nutrients to the tissue that are going to make everything better in terms of fluidity, movement, agility. You're not necessarily going to get that by huffing and puffing and pushing more. There is a strengthening component to it, and we demonstrate that, and we love using variable resistance training as opposed to free weight. Nothing wrong with free weight, but when you have the injuries and as the years go by, you can get a lot of wear and tear with that. So it's a combination of things that we educate you on, including, and we're talking about this with Maestro Reese and Sobrevivencia, and that's going to be the topic of, if you're a member of Sobrevivencia, the annual membership, there's a Zoom session that we do, but how your nutrition, your food, will either support inflammation or can cause it, as an example, right? So those are important topics. And then lastly is the concept. So you have how to train when you have injuries, physical limitations, how to work around that. And I'm talking about everything from, hey, there's a stroke and you can only use one side of the body. There's individuals that we work with that are sitting down in a wheelchair. How are we going to make that better? How are we going to work around it? Simply, if you're coming for self-protection, criminals don't care. And that's the third component and that's where the majority American cane, self-defense, right? Sobrevivencia, the art of survival. Well, what if the idea is you to win, and not necessarily, you're not filming a movie for Hollywood. You're not showing off. Your pride is submerged because you have the wisdom and you know that the ultimate form of self-protection would involve zero contact. And then only if you cannot get it to that point, then will these skill sets come in, both with the cane and the empty hand. In an ACSD and an SV, it's the cane that teaches the empty hand, not the other way around. This is why you cannot just simply enroll in an empty hand program without the cane. You say, well, I train a different cane system. Can I just enroll in your empty hand? No, because it's not going to make sense to you. You're not going to make it. You're going to need to understand how this happens first, and then how that translates to the different hand forms. And it just takes your understanding of the system to another level. But on a practical basis, yes, any tool that you're carrying that you might be needing for self-protection has to be measured against how readily can you have it in your hands when you need it the most. And obviously this is a medical device that, here's the key, ready? With training, can save your life. There's a step-by-step, and it doesn't work by it's not gonna happen by watching video alone, where you're gonna need the corrective feedback. And that's what we've been doing now for a long time, for decades now. We know how to do it, we know how to communicate it, and we do it very effectively wherever you are in the world. All you need is very practical. All you need is your cane. You need some space. I've seen people doing the training outdoors. I've seen them do it in the garage, but I've seen them doing it with furniture around. I've even seen them do it in a parking lot. We don't take up a lot of your time, but we give you the professional feedback that you're going to need. That is the fastest way to get from A to B safely. It's not about training harder, it's about training smarter. And it all begins again by texting those letters CCC to the number on the screen. Let's have a conversation. Let's see where we're at. Because depending on the goal and what your starting point is, we can give you a professional feedback as to whether this would be a good fit for you. But know that you can do it. It is never too late, and it's rare. If it's something that we can't work with because it's a particular injury or limitation, then we will tell you that as well. That's part of what we do and part of being a professional. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Joe Robina for American Cane Self-Defense, Cane Flow, Sobrevivencia, everything, the whole umbrella. Thanks for watching. Keep caning. Stay safe.